actually, a couple of friends of mine, they got their second dog into training because their first dog had some neurological issues, but they couldn't take the dog anywhere. Nobody could come over. They were always fearful about what this dog would do. And then they got their second dog, and then the first dog passed away. And it was kind of that like, okay, we loved that dog, but now it's like we have that breathing room.
Yeah.
But then they started noticing that the second dog was kind of going along the same lines, so they got the training. And now they're so happy that they got the training because they were so worried that it was going to revert back to, well, we can't have people over anymore. We can't take him down, down the street, on a walk. And now they can do that. Yeah. So it's, and I mean, just from their point of view, talking to us, it's like literally the best thing that ever happened to them for their dog and themselves, because they don't have this weird, like in the back, like feeling trapped and enclosed because they have to, like you said, live around their dog, Well, we can't do this, so we just got to stay home or whatever, we can't have friends over or whatever. So yeah, it's such a benefit to take care of that problem and have that freedom with your dog and for your own sanity. Because 9-10 years with a dog that you have to like be so careful with and you have no control over, it's tough,
dude. And it's one of those things where that's kind of just the reality of some of these situations, right? I think that's the conversation everybody needs to have with themselves about stuff, is instead of looking at things so much like, again, maybe something happened to the dog before, this is why they're doing this behavior, this and that. Mm-hmm. If this dog is going to live a fulfilled life, right, we have to get him as far past these issues as we can.
Exactly.
Right? And again, there will be caps on some of those things. You're only going to get it so far sometimes.
Yeah.
Right? But it's your obligation, regardless of, again, why the dog is rehearsing some of the behaviors that they're rehearsing, to get them as far past those things as possible, because that's the only way they're going to live a good life.
Yeah.
We hear a lot, like people will ask, well, if I use an e-collar with my dog or I use a prong collar with my dog and they're fearful, it's like, aren't I going to make it worse, right? Mm-hmm. Aren't I going to just make the problem like 10 times worse because I'm adding more fear into the equation? It's just like, those people are thinking that by not applying the corrections and by not stopping the behaviors, we're keeping the dog happy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like the dog isn't happy. You know what I mean? If this dog is like living in fear right now and acting out because of fear in these like aggressive manners or reactive manners and stuff, by not doing anything, we're just allowing the dog to sit in this torturous headspace of being just petrified of stuff around them.
True.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And me adding a 1-second correction into things that is not fun for the dog, but inhibits that response that they may have, right? Yeah, it's adding 1 additional second of fear, right, into the equation on top of them already being scared. But then, as soon as you do it and you inhibit that behavior, you open up their whole world to like understanding that I don't have to act in this way. I don't have to get into this adrenalized headspace when I'm scared, which then progressively makes the behavior worse.
Yeah.
Right? I could resort to something else, right? And I could slow them down a little bit. And then from there, they could start experiencing the world in a less amped up state of mind and start realizing it's just not so bad.
Yeah.
And that's what we see happen with these like fearful dogs all the time, over and over and over and over again, is that they're scared, right? And they're acting out because they're scared, right? And then we punish the behavior and we stop the behavior, right? Whatever it may be, right? The reactivity, typically speaking, in these cases, right? And then because they don't get themselves to this like level 11 state of mind, then what happens is they're around the dog and they're like, oh man, I can't react and act defensively in this situation. So I'm just going to kind of avoid a little bit. And the dog passes by and they realize for the first time, wait, I didn't do anything. And the dog still went away and nothing bad happened.
Yeah.
Right? And that's like the light bulb moment going off in their head.
Yeah.
And then the next time it happens again, they're like, wait, I'm a little nervous. Oh, wait, nothing happened. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
And then each time it gets like easier and easier and easier for them. And that's really where the confidence starts to build. It's like Jeff said in the podcast that she was referring to, it's like the correction is the first step of the equation, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to know how to stop the behavior first. That's how we stop the behavior, right? But then you have to spend the time letting the dog kind of overcome their issues and stuff.
Yeah.
So whatever, good chat there. So moving on to the next part of this question here. So she has a dog. She's confused about training methods, right? She's confused how to proceed with training her dog. She has an anxious, excited, fear-aggressive pit bull. She believes he manages the problem behaviors very well. Her major issues have been addressed, but I always feel like if her behavior was better, she could interact more with the world and have a more fulfilling life. So here's the thing, right? We need to know where the problems still are. So what's holding you back from having her interact with the world more? Right? If you feel like you've overcome the problems, that's fantastic, obviously.
Yeah.
What problems are remaining?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I did a session yesterday with somebody, and she came in, and she did a board and train elsewhere, right? And she came in, and she's like, yeah, the dog listens and, does really well with everything, right? And she had fear reactivity and this and that, and dog's no longer doing any of those things. She's like, but, like, I want to, like, I feel like I need more engagement. And I was like, what's the issue?
Yeah.
Right? Like, and we literally sat there for probably like 10 minutes and we kind of went back and forth. I was like, I truly don't understand. Like, where's the problems? You know what I mean? Like, where do you feel like there's an issue here? You know what I mean? Like I watch her work the dog. Like the dog looked good with everything. The dog was responding to things. But in her mind, because, again, what we kind of rooted this back to was because she sees all these videos and pictures online of people with their dogs that are out there like Malinois doing these like super engaged, freaking crazy shit and looking so pumped up while they're working and stuff like that. And her dog's just like, okay, I'll lay down over here. All right, I'll do my bed stay over there.
Yeah.
All right, I'll come when I call you.
Just
chill. Stuff like that. Just kind of chill with things. In her mind, there was more training to do. Right? But getting back to what does the human need, right? Where's it inhibiting your life, right? Now, we got to the bottom of it, and she has interest in kind of doing like some rally obedience work and things like that, and some like dog sport kind of stuff and everything. Hell yeah, right? Yes. To answer your question then, right? We do need to establish some engagement, and we do need to establish some communication and some motivation so we could teach some of the behaviors necessary for rally obedience.
Yeah.
Right? We got to the bottom of it. We figured out what it was. But we have to have now, flipping this back to her here, we have to have a North Star. Right? We have to have a goal of where is it that I'm at right now and where is it that I want to be. Right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like right now that this girl here is not 100% certain on where that is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the first thing I would say is you have to create a list of these are the things I want to be able to do with my dog, right? That I feel like I cannot do, right? From there, the second step of this equation is looking at that list then and asking yourself, do I want to be able to do these things because I actually want to do these things with my dog? Or do I want to be able to do these things because society tells me that I should be able to do these things, right?
Yeah.
Case in points. A lot of people, I want to be able to go to a dog park, right? Half of these people have no fucking interest in ever going to a dog park in their life, but because their dog has quote unquote dog aggression issues, and they see all their friends go to their dog park, right? And they feel like right now that that's an unachievable thing for themselves. They put it as a goal on there, even though they have no intention of ever doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, don't worry about it, right?
Don't need it.
Same deal with like we'll see some people that have dog aggressive dogs, right? And they're like, I want to socialize my dog, right, with other dogs, right? And I'm like, okay, I'm team have a social outlet for your dog. And I ask them, I was like, where do you need to socialize your dog at? They're like, well, I don't know. We don't really ever have anybody come over the house, and we don't go to dog parks, right? And we like have no interest in having our dog meet other dogs out on a leash, and like, none of our family members have dogs, and this and that, and it's like, okay, cool, so. Basically what you're saying is there's really not a need to worry about socializing our dog too much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
My dogs, I don't take my dogs to go socialize them all the time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't take my dogs to go, play with other dogs constantly. Like, they hang out with each other.
Yeah.
That's it, right? And every once in a blue moon, we'll have like a friend that'll bring a dog over, but it's like literally almost never, right?
Yeah.
Like Brittany will bring Henry here once every 4 months,
Yeah.
And Alex and Paul will bring Charlie over. Like, I think they've literally brought her over here twice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like ever, right?
Yep.
So it's like there's not really a need for that,
Yeah.
right? So I don't worry about doing tons and tons of socialization with my dog,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, some people have family members that had like there's people I can think of that, like, girls got a sister that has a dog and they're constantly getting together with each other and they want to get the dogs good with each other.
Mm-hmm.
That's a goal, right? And if you
Yep.
feel like you can't achieve that yet, that's a goal that we could strive for at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? But you got to look at that list as far as what are the goals that we actually have here right now. And you need to look at which ones are actually applicable to my life, right? Like, which one of these goals that I feel like I can't do right now are things that I genuinely really want to do all the time with my dog that's going to give them a more fulfilling life, right? So you got to look at that also, right? So to give you direction as far as the training is concerned, that's what I would look at is your list of goals, and you need to clearly outline where are the problems and where are the goals. From there, we can create plans as far as how to get to those goals, right? From there, as far as the training methods are concerned, I'm a believer in balanced training, right? I'm a believer in using a little bit of everything, right? But I'm understanding that everybody's situation is slightly different and everybody's needs are going to require different things, right? So from there, you need to look at your goals that you have, right? And you need to look at then what methods are going to get you to those goals in a timely fashion enough that you're okay with,
Yeah.
right? So let's say one of those goals is I want to be able to take my dog for walks and have it not react at other dogs, if that's still a problem, right? And I don't have all day to do it. I live in a busy city where there's dogs everywhere, and I can't avoid them very effectively, et cetera, et cetera. You're probably going to need a balanced training approach, right? You're probably going to need an approach that's going to involve you suppressing that reactive behavior enough where you can get some headway with it so that you could actually get past the problem pretty quickly, right? Let's say you live in fucking, I don't know, Montana or somewhere where there's no dogs around, right? And you see one dog every week at the park, you know what I mean? And like, it's, you're in a field and you can get super far away from them, and you want to use a force-free approach, or you want to use something like just a head halty with a force-free approach, which is kind of like a new trend that I've seen lately, right? That's fine because you can manage that so effectively that, like, if the dog like has one explosion a week at another dog, it's not really going to be the end of the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And if you want to avoid corrections that bad and you can manage that behavioral issue that well, right? That's fine. Right? So you got to look at your goals and you got to figure out what training program, right, is going to be conducive to getting past these problems the fastest.
Yeah.
Right? And in a way that I'm okay with. So these are the ways that I look at these types of situations, right? And from there, you got to find a trainer that you trust, right? Because listen, there's some trainers out there that are balanced trainers that are kind of just like abrasive people. There's balanced trainers out there that train similarly to how we do. They use food, they use corrections, right? They use different tools and stuff like that, right? But like their personality is just like there's like no emotional connection with the human or with the dog, right?
Yeah.
And it makes everybody feel a little uncomfortable when they go to it. And it's like they don't feel like that trainer has their or their dog's best interest at mind, right? And it's so like non-emotional and stuff like that. And regardless of if it actually works with your dog, you're not going to trust that process and trust that person to guide you to the end goal.
100%.
You know what I mean? Where, there's the same with some force-free trainers out there that are, way too emotional and way too in the dog's, kind of best interests and not enough in your best interests, right? And they're going to blame everything on you and it's going to discourage you and feel like you can't get past things, right? Then there's the balance trainers that do the same thing, right? Where they have the dog's best interest at mind and they're trying really, really hard to do things so nicely, but they're avoiding your your immediate goals that you have,
Yep.
right? So as you're looking for a trainer and you're looking for resources and stuff for this, you need to find somebody that you feel like you jive with stuff. That's very important as well. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that called that has I think it's like a Doberman, and the dog, I think they picked up from some abusive situation, right? Whatever. And she's so hesitant on using e-collars, which I understand, right? But she also knows, because she's done force-free training for a long time with this dog, she knows that she needs something else, right?
Yeah.
But this woman is going to need a very, very gentle human to help guide them through things.
Yeah.
They're going to need a gentle human that has the owner's best interest in mind, the dog's best interest at mind, right? And is going to be delicate with how they apply all of the information in a way where the dog and the human can like emotionally withstand all of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that from the standpoint of like, you know, balance training without that is like this like harsh, horrible thing by any means, right? But like there's already so much emotion behind trying this approach that we have to ease them into it, right? So that they could really see firsthand, you know, how this is going to impact and benefit their life.
Yep.
You know? So a lot of it comes down to then the person that's coaching you, you need to feel like you feel safe around them.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You need to feel like you feel safe and that they are going to help you and help you both physically with the dog as well as emotionally through the hurdles that you're going to face as you're working through rehabilitating some of these issues.
Yep.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's a long rant there, man. So listen, I'd love for you to send me some more information as far as what's going on with your dog. You know, obviously we could help you out with answering those questions a little bit further, obviously from there.
Yeah. I really like your point on the goals, you know? Like I think a lot of people do get that confused of, do I really want to do this, or am I doing it because it just seems like the popular option, or it helps someone else, like the dog park thing that you talked about. I think that's such a good retrospect, you know, to am I really going to take my dog here, or do I really want to do these things with my dog, or is it just because I think that that's what is society says that I have to do or whatever. So I just thought that was a really, really good point that you brought up.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see that sometimes for sure is you know, some people create these goals for themselves that are not in the best interest of their life. They're just things that they think they should be able to do with their dog.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think there's a lot of that out there right now.
There's so much of it, you know, and you got to help people get to the bottom of that sometimes and help them recalibrate their goals a little bit.
Yep.
You know? It's interesting. Like the higher and the more extreme you set your goals to be, you know, sometimes the less victory it feels like you get because it takes you so much longer to achieve them, right?
Yep.
Where if you set yourself realistic goals, right, and you set yourself goals that like, this allows me to do a lot more with my dog, right, but isn't like shooting for the moon, you know, if I have this crazy like man-eater of a dog or something like that, you know, you could find yourself enjoying your dog a lot more just from doing that.
Exactly.
So,
Yep.